The first time I've seen an exorcism was back in 1992 and again in 1998. I was twice in our house, same group. You okay with pushing? You need some help? How about you get to ride the next time around and I get to push? We just switch seats. We're actually going to the heart of what we call the last population. You wouldn't know this, but we used to live in the city. You know, for the people in the future, we used to live in high-rise buildings, subdivisions, you know, the works. We can't imagine it now. But here, this is our new home, and we live in fear. I mean, for us, this generation. But for the next generation, for the ones that get used to this, now this is home to them. Besides critters, it's something to get used to. Anyways, you know, you want the story. So we're all down here. We've got our lights. I'm just not using this one because you got your light here. Let's just use yours. We've got our lamps here. We just came from fishing, which we caught no fish at all. They were going hungry, but we're alive today. Try to keep that happening. You probably think this is really bad, but this is our life now, 2015. So we live underground, above ground, underneath the mountain, away from all the calamities, away from all the wars that's been happening. The first time I've seen an exorcism was back in 1992 and again in 1998. I was twice in our house, same group. Actually, because of harboring depression, my family's been harboring sort of demon inside our house. Actually, we wouldn't call it a demon, we'd call it someone gravely depressed and claimed on him, and Father Kriekenbeek was the one that administered the whole exorcism and deliverance. So that's twice in a row, and coincidentally, that's what we're handling now. Evil. Your notion of evil is probably like someone has a weapon in front of you, bigger than you, wants something from you, someone dark, someone whispering something in your ear. You know, the typical movie type of evil. But the ones that we know, or I know, the ones that I've experienced are the ones that take time, sit by you, you don't even know they're there, years to develop. They lurk right behind you, not knowing that that's it, what our experience was back in 2023. We had to construct a building, but before we had to construct it, we had to demolish the old house that was right on the center. It had to be done, but the thing is, we had to clean it first, because we had to find something, or some artifacts that we needed to keep. We had to speak with someone who had experience. So the evil that I'm talking about is something that thrives on depression, grief, especially during 2023, where everybody, there was lots of experience during the pandemic, the climate change, and everything. A lot of deaths happened. So obviously, a lot of people were in grief. That's what happened. A lot of people did between those times. On our experience, you wanted this movie. You promised me, Ken. I want to understand it. So that house that we were supposed to design, we had to travel through cab because we couldn't park. It was an old street. The streets before were small. I was a builder then. We used to build houses for people, houses that would withstand storms. But this one is different. This one, the problem wasn't out there, it was inside. The first time I met the owner was 8 years prior to 2023. His first words were, "I have never met this person before," and he actually came up to me and said, "Wow, you're finally here." Like he was expecting 8 years after he died. That's thus this construction. After the thought about cleaning, we had this notion that we were going to have it blessed by someone who has more experience on demonic possessions, exorcisms, and she said that you couldn't clean just the surface, you had to clean within. So that's when she mentioned we had to have the house exorcised. Now, listening to that word brings back a lot of memories. I had this recollection in my head because this wasn't my first experience with an exorcism was with Father Kriekenbeek back in 1992, and then again in 1998. So that was twice in 1 decade with the same priest. Coincidentally, we were still referring to the same priest 30 years after for this house. Unfortunately, Father Kriekenbeek passed away. His protege, Fr.Russel, took over Mary's Little Children's Home. So after speaking with that friend of mine who had experience with demonic possession, exorcism, she suggested we have the house exorcised. Wait, I didn't know what to do first. I had a classmate who was a priest, and he knew about this stuff.
Today we're headed to the Archbishop Reyes of Alice. We're looking for an exorcist to exorcise the house, as advised by Chrissy, who is a practicing spiritualist, and advised by Sean, Father Sean. So we're headed that way to find out if we can schedule one. So I'll see you there.